What's going on YouTube? This your boy Russell with Brien. We're back at it again, and we're gonna watch the top 10 WWE wrestlers who refused to win at WrestleMania. So if you haven't hit that subscribe button, please do so right now. And shout out to WrestleMania for the video. Let's get to it. AJ Styles versus Chris Jericho.
Fans were convinced that AJ would secure a huge win over Chris Jericho. AJ was the firm favorite for the matchup, as this was his first ever WrestleMania matchup, and it wasn't as if Jericho needed the win, as his popularity and star power couldn't be touched during this
I bet Jericho refused that shit. Oh well, he won.
To have Jericho win the match, and it was later reported that AJ wanted to lose the match. Was this because AJ wanted to show that he was a team player? Well, potentially. It may have also been that AJ was of the belief that he shouldn't just walk into a prominent spot on the WrestleMania card and just win, and it was his duty to do the honors. Number 9,
okay, Chris.
Versus the
Respect.
One of the names that was pitched to end the iconic streak of The Undertaker was Mark Henry.
Mark Henry.
WrestleMania 22
Big dog.
Match. And when this news first surfaced, fans were stunned, as there was no way on paper that Henry was going to defeat the legendary Undertaker
in a
well-owned match. And according to Mark Henry, during an interview with
Brock Lesnar defeat him.
Of Henry defeating the Undertaker was very close to happening, but ultimately he would turn it down. It was close.
Damn.
There was some conversation about me being the one to break the streak, and if they would have asked me, I would have been like, hell no, I don't want to carry that weight. And Henry, just
come on, and Mark could have won that match, man.
Realized the magnitude of the win. Conquering the streak at that time would have arguably been bigger than any world title win, and it's not something that talent were comfortable openly accepting, which is completely understandable.
Damn, Mark Henry should have went for it, man.
Versus the Undertaker.
Oh, Kane versus Undertaker, one of the best rivals it is.
This affection ran so deep that the Undertaker reportedly wanted Kane to break the streak on more than one occasion. It's believed.
Yo, for real, I really think it should have been at least somebody like Kane who won the who beat the streak, other than Brock Lesnar. I really feel like he one of the ones should at least or thought of could have beat Undertaker, but you know, it didn't go that way. I don't know why, but it didn't go that way.
And it was even rumored that the Undertaker wanted Kane to break it at a subsequent WrestleMania event. Kane was well established for being one of the most selfless pro wrestlers of all time, so it was hardly a surprise that the man said no thanks. Kane had such an elite
I can't say no thanks.
Regard, and when the Undertaker put over his kayfabe half-brother on a number of pay-per-view events in 2010, this was likely the Undertaker's way of giving Kane a lap of honor. Number 7, The Rock versus JBL, WrestleMania 21. Putting together their creative plans for WrestleMania 21, one of the ideas WWE was JBL defending the WWE title versus The Rock. But The Rock was basically retired at this point in time, but WWE believed that this would reignite the product and make fans interested in what WWE were offering. The initial creative plans legitimately called for The Rock to win. However, with The Rock having extensive commitments in Hollywood, it's unknown how this would have worked.
Okay.
Of course, the Great One turned the match and the huge win down, and instead WWE would commit to making John Cena the new face of the company, which was 100% the correct call.
I did not know that.
Number 6, The Undertaker versus Roman Reigns. WrestleMania 33 was designed.
Oh, this part when they hated Roman.
Match.
They hated Roman during this time. He used to get booed out the stadium right here. So I knew he probably refused to win.
Was simply out of the question for the dead man, and he wanted to go out by putting over the new face of WWE.
Oh, Undertaker wouldn't do it.
Mentality was appreciated. The match itself did neither man any favors, as it was a complete letdown. The dead man wasn't just in the right place physically or mentally to deliver a high-quality match.
Oh yeah, Undertaker was damn near done then. He was done.
The Undertaker has spoken at length regarding how bad he felt for messing up Reigns' big moment. Whilst the Undertaker may feel extremely bad,
I remember that match now.
It failed to hinder either man's
legacy. He felt like he didn't serve Roman justice in that match. I don't think he did either.
It's a common consensus that Bray Wyatt should have defeated John Cena at WrestleMania 30. Cena had no reason to win this match, and Wyatt winning such a huge match on the grand stage could have been an incredible
RIP to Bray Wyatt.
6 years later at WrestleMania 36, the two would have a rematch, and it was almost as if Cena went out of his way to make Wyatt look good as humanly possible. The two collided in a wild yet fun Firefly Funhouse match, as his character and persona. The initial plans for the match were for the two to collide in a regular 1v1 1v1 matchup. And if this was indeed planned, then Cena would have done the favor and wouldn't have hesitated in putting Wyatt over. It was reported 3 years prior that Cena insisted on putting Wyatt over on SmackDown during Wyatt's reign as WWE Champion, and Cena evidently wanted to right the wrongs of WrestleMania 30. Number 4, Edge versus The Undertaker. At the main event of
Edge versus The Undertaker
was set to be Edge defending the world title against The Undertaker.
This prime Edge right here. Rated R superstar.
It's unknown why exactly WWE believed it was a time to end the streak, but it was possible that they may have been under the impression that the streak had just run its course. But Edge would ultimately turn down the offer.
Come on,
and
Edge.
reflected on its executive call during an appearance on the Impulsive podcast. Yeah, so we were going to meet in the main event.
Like I said, it's so many wrestlers that should have ended the streak other than Brock Lesnar.
Like, what do you think? I was like, absolutely not. Why would we do that? That makes zero sense to me. I'm already a made man. I'm in the main event of WrestleMania. What's it gonna do for me? Sure, it would do something, I guess, but let's save that. Let's save that for somebody who could really.
Oh, he didn't want that backlash. You knew it was gonna be backlash.
Had a great point. What benefit
I don't know.
had to his stand?
Edge was on his game then, man. I think that would have been a good idea.
To receive such a monumental win. Number 3, Batista versus Daniel Bryan. Well, upon returning to WWE in 2014, Batista was promised the world. He was promised a main event match versus Randy Orton at WrestleMania 30, and he was promised a world title reign. And naturally, due to the rise of Daniel Bryan, some of WWE's promises would be broken. Batista would end up tapping out to Bryan in the main event of WrestleMania. According to Batista himself, during an appearance on MLW Radio's Writers' Room, it was his call to put Bryan over in the main event, and the Animal took issue with WWE's call to follow up the win with a poorly executed angle on Raw the next night. Here's what I hated about the whole Daniel Bryan thing. We did the thing at Mania, which was great, man. I wanted to put him over. I agreed to tap out to him. It was no big deal. I never made a big deal about it. The thing I made a big deal out of was what we did that deal that night. The next night, after he got on off a stretcher, gone through hell the whole night, wasn't his fault, but they wanted him to come back not selling anything. Like not selling that he was sore or beat up or injured. Nothing. Batista was rumored to face Bryan in the main event of the 2014 Payback pay-per-view, but it's believed that Batista was on board with continuing the rivalry between his Evolution stable and the Shield.
Evolution was done then.
Was definitely the
right all of them look
Number
done.
2, Daniel Bryan versus Kofi Kingston. The Kofi Mania storyline in 2000.
That's one thing. I mean, I've noticed since knowing some of these stuff. Some of these stuff happened that I didn't know about. Putting people over. Well, I always knew people put people over and stuff, but I didn't know the certain situations that really happened. Why these matches was won and lost. I mean, it seemed to be a lot of unselfish wrestlers during that time period. Not all of them. Like the Undertaker and your Batistas, those guys, and Edge, those guys seems more unselfish, and that made me respect them more as pro wrestlers now, since I have found these things out. But not all of them. Let's make that clear. Not all of them are unselfish, but those couple guys, I feel it's like it's real unselfish, and I respect that for sure.
2019 gripped the wrestling world, and one of the names responsible for the storyline being such an overwhelming success was Daniel Bryan. Bryan used his political power within the company to push for Kingston to get
That's an ugly belt. That is a horrible looking belt.
Insist on putting over Kingston.
I do not like that belt at all.
During an appearance on the After the Bell podcast,
yeah, Kofi.
Kingston gave Bryan credit for understanding with what the fans wanted. He pushed for that to happen because the plans weren't for me to be at WrestleMania. I'm not sure who it was for Daniel to face, but it wasn't me. And Daniel went in and went to bat for me, and the situation
I respect
for the title
that.
match between us to happen. So
I respect that. I think it's more of a what type of person you are. A lot of these guys out here selfish. They probably wouldn't even done that for Kofi.
So kudos to Daniel Bryan. Now, this was a trend that ran through Bryan's entire WWE run. He always seemed to know what the audience wanted. He always knew when it was time to put someone over. And number 1,
Bryan reminded me of Sami Zayn for some reason. I don't know why.
One of the names that fans would have liked
maybe because they kind of favor each other.
Was the legend killer Randy.
So this is number 1, y'all.
In 2005, Orton was slowly emerging as a major player for WWE, and he needed a big win to solidify himself as a future legend for the company. As WWE rolled into Orton versus
Undertaker made the list
WrestleMania 21, there were endless
multiple
rumors that they were
times.
going to have Orton win. They ultimately had the dead man extend his win streak. It was later reported that Orton turned down the idea of winning that match, which highlights the respect he had for the dead man. Even though WWE's resident Viper would turn this offer down, The Undertaker would put over Orton at subsequent pay-per-view events, including the 2005 SummerSlam. But there you have it, folks. 10 WWE wrestlers.
Wow, those guys are really unselfish, and I like that. I like that. Well, guys, you have it. That's the top 10 WWE wrestler who refused to win at WrestleMania. But again, a big shout out to WrestleMania for the video, and tell me what y'all think in the comments. What y'all think about those situations that happened during WrestleMania in those time periods. All right, but this your boy Wrestle with Brien. I'm out. Peace.